Hi, Skylark Songbird. I told you in the last video that there are messages in the letters for me. So I'm getting it everywhere I turn. I didn't know it was everywhere, but it is. So let me start. World Heaven I. Be Order Bob Dylan. My Lord Lion Angel. It's a lion. Okay. I'm a tiger. So, there you go. I wanted to discuss, he said he was raised, or some ways was the star of Greenwich Village. So I must have picked up on that or something, because my children grew up, our children, they're Bob Dylan's children, because he put his seed in my uterus. He has my uterus, he has my heart, and what else does he have? What? I don't know. I have his eyes. Oh, he has my thumb. See, I'm under his thumb. And I have his eyes and his hand, his right hand. So I want to say right now, somebody tell Bob Dylan to take back his eyes and his right hand. He needs them. He very, very, very much needs his eyes and he needs his hand. And I have used them to figured out a lot of information, a lot of answers to the problems of the world. And my eyes have become accustomed to looking at the letters and seeing the messages. So I don't really need Bob Dylan's eyes anymore, and he does need them. The same thing about my right hand, you know. So that's what I want to say about that. Now, as far as Greenwich Village, where he was a star, my children, I heard of Greenwich Village, and I wanted to raise my children. When my marriage broke up with Birdsong, I had a house in Hollis, Queens, but he had been sleeping with some girl in my bed when I was in Los Angeles with the children, keeping his widowed mother company because her husband just died fucking a secretary. And so when I came back to New York and Jenny saw him, said, Mrs. Birdsong, Mr. Birdsong had a lady in your house. And then I was in the house and I found Birdsong didn't even want me to come back to New York. We were in Tennessee with my mother, and he wanted me to go to California and move in there, see, because all the evidence was in New York. So I found the birth certificate where he had had a baby with another woman on my side of the bed. So I knew Jenny was telling the truth. I knew she was telling the truth anyway, that he had a woman in the house. So when we were in a car and I nearly went crazy, I became a tiger, and the tiger went wild and almost killed us all, because he had killed the family. That was what I wanted, a happy family. If they're dead, they may as well be really dead. So I went crazy like that, you see. So he left. He got scared of me. He's a chameleon. I didn't know that. I thought he had more courage. So he got scared and left. And so so they sent for me in India and put me back together. Jesus Christ, my husband, had 3 guys chasing me and asking me to marry them, you know, and he gave me the honor of being his secretary. I didn't know he was my husband, you know, and I saw his private quarters where he lives, and they treated me like his wife, but I didn't know that's what they were doing. I just thought they were nice. So anyway, he put me back together. I came back to New York. I had a choice. I could stay in that house and rent out rooms, but I couldn't stand the house because of the vibrations of the betrayal. So I chose to move into Manhattan. And my friend Shatimo took me to welfare because I wasn't getting that I should go to welfare, because my mother raised us not to go to welfare, not to take charity. Even if you had to have a low-paying job, don't take charity. She didn't say it. She lived it. Okay, so I chose to live on the Lower East Side of Manhattan because, first of all, the house in Hollis, it was turning into a ghetto. Hollis was turning into a ghetto, and I certainly didn't want my son involved with people like that, ghetto people who like to steal and smoke dope and things like that. Be antisocial. I wanted my children to be normal, contributing members of society. So I chose to raise them in Manhattan on the Lower East Side because that's the cheapest rent I could find, $194 a month, even though it was an incredible dump. And my friends were saying, you can't move in there. I'm moving in here. I'm not moving to Harlem. And I'm not moving to Brooklyn. I'm moving in Manhattan. So sure enough, we did that. So what I did was, we didn't hang around that place. When they woke up, we had breakfast, and we were out of there. We were in a library, a museum. They went to school in Greenwich Village at PS 41, even though they were supposed to go to PS 42. But I went there, and there was this man, this drunk man with this little baby. And oh no, I can't deal with this. So they weren't going to go to that school. So I got what is called a variance to get your child able to go to a school in another district from where it lives. They had PS3, and I went there, and it was full of hippies. I didn't want no hippies. So we went for the traditional PS 41, where lawyers and doctors send their children. It's as good as a private school. The principal, Mr. Sephora, was a black belt judo artist, and he was Japanese. I liked him right away. He liked us. So that worked out beautifully. They went to school in Greenwich Village. I would take them there, and then I have to walk home because I don't have any car fare to ride home. So this is not a problem. I did that. And then after school, we would go to Washington Square Park, and I'd let them play as long as they wanted to. Robin said that to me, you let us play as long as we want. And it's true, I did. And I sat there reading or whatever. And then when I had money, I put them in the sports club in the West Village, so they liked that for a while. They all signed on for violin lessons at Greenwich House School of Music on Barrow Street. And before they got in 41, I put them in Greenwich House Daycare because I wanted them to have some friends. I wasn't working, but I wanted them to have some friends, and they did, and it worked out beautifully. Robin's best friend was Moki Brown. She was a little white girl, and her father, Cameron Brown, was an upright bass player, and his wife, Marit, was from Denmark, and she was a designer. The other friend Robin had, Miriam Parker, her father also was he was black, but he was a bass player, upright bass, a jazz bass player, and her mother was a white music teacher. So that's what I wanted, interracial friends. I didn't want to raise racist children. I didn't want to raise children who were inferior, like me, not being allowed to do what white people do, white girls do. So you figure you're not as good a white girl. I didn't want any of that. So they didn't have any of that. And